Hello, everybody. This is Joe Eisman, Chair of the Long-Term Athletic Development Special Interest Group. I just want to provide a really brief overview of what happened at the national meeting during our SIG meeting on Friday afternoon. So one thing is we just started with a reminder of the purpose of the SIG, and that is to promote and disseminate good practice and scientific research relevant to long-term athletic development of both children and adolescents. I think one point that I wanted to make here and that I did during the meeting was that dissemination of it is getting outside of our special interest group, getting into our organizations and into our communities and really spreading the word of long-term athletic development and educating other coaches, parents and other stakeholders, athletic directors, sport administrators on the real value of a long-term athletic development program. Again, a reminder that we are one of only a few special interest groups. I believe there's only one other position paper that might be specific to a special interest group, and that would be in elderly populations. But the Nsca position statement on long-term athletic development, which was published in June of 2016, which we all should be familiar with, and that is long-term athletic development it's defined as habitual development of athleticism, that composite set of physical qualities ranging from fundamental movement skills to speed and agility and strength and power, mobility, so on and so forth. But the development of athleticism over time to improve the health and fitness, enhance the physical performance, reduce the relative risk of injury, and then to develop the confidence and the competency to be good movers in youth. And really, we should be thinking about this across the lifespan as well. So what was covered during this 50-minute meeting, again, the review of the purpose statement. I'm going to introduce the SIG members. We talked a little about recent activities. We had a special guest, Des Ryan, who gave a brilliant presentation on grassroots efforts in communities, again, tying it to what I just said. And then I passed the gavel to my friend and colleague, Tony Moreno, who will assume duties as the chair of the Long-Term Athletic Development Special Interest Group after the meeting, which technically is today. So the SIG members, again, myself, Tony Moreno, who I mentioned, will be the incoming chair. Chris Heck is a physical education teacher, strength and conditioning coach within a school district in Denver. Jillian Myberg is a PhD student and also works with the Lawn Tennis Association in England. Craig Pfeiffer, his term ended at the meeting. Craig is a professor in Gloucestershire. And Craig having his term ending, we have two individuals who are starting as of now. Philip Rykoff is a strength and conditioning coach, director of performance at a private school called Cape Henry Collegiate on the East Coast of the United States. And then Erin Egelhoff has her own strength and conditioning sport performance business called Strength of Will Training. And Erin has considerable experience in the sport of figure skating. And then Andrew Picardo is a strength and conditioning coach in a school district in Texas at Tyler Legacy High School. The other important note here with the executive council members, as you can see if you look at the term end dates, several of them will have term end dates at the end of next year's meeting. So if you're interested in getting involved in the LTAD SIG group, be on the lookout, both through communication from the NSCA and here on the Facebook page. Probably in October, applications will be called for, and they will be due typically around December, then reviewed by the Executive Council, and then acceptance of individuals to be on the Executive Council starting at next year's meeting. So in terms of where we're at, this is membership So again, when you become a member, and I know there's probably several individuals who are part of the Facebook group, but they may not be members of the National Strength and Conditioning Association. So again, to have the ability to vote and partake in other activities, including being on the SIG Executive Council, you must be a member. So there's a little bit of paperwork. You can contact the headquarters for that to change your membership to the Long-Term Athletic Development SIG. You can be a member of multiple SIGs as well, as you check that off on your membership form. Impressively here on Facebook, you can see the growth over the last several years, going back to 2018 when we had 910 Facebook members to now where that number is above 9,900. As I was reminded by our SAGE counsel, Rick Howard, who started this SIG group and continues to be a backbone of this group as well. But he reminded me that we're actually at 9,900, so we're pushing to 10K here. Number of members continues to grow. One point that I made is even though there's nearly 10,000 members, it seems like the same individuals are posting and interacting on the Facebook group. Remember, that is there to be a forum around this topic and of this special interest that we have on physical development, holistic athletic development, physical literacy of youngsters, adolescents, and then reaching into the adult years as well. So I know some individuals may have imposter syndrome, and some other barriers which may prevent them from interacting. But again, please allow it as a positive forum for the growth of knowledge and exchange of information. Just highlighting some things that have happened in the last couple of years. Obviously, COVID has thrown a wrench in a lot of people's plans and activities and whatnot. But a few years back, we actually had a track at the national meeting, which was very successful. And then off of that, we organized and held a one-day pre-con in September of 2020, which was very successful as well. A few of us were sitting in the high school professional development group, and they're mentioning, more activity around the high school, the high school group. So what we're thinking is maybe approaching the Nsca to have this combined long-term athletic development, high school, and perhaps even college to kind of look at that span from, childhood, adolescence, high school, and into the collegiate years with athletic development. So be on the lookout. If you have some ideas, please share with us. There was also a special issue published in December of 2020. And another note along that is Dr. Rodri Lloyd, who was one of the editors of that special issue. He also hosts a column on long-term athletic development in the journal. So if you'd like to write on any piece, there's that opportunity for you to share your ideas and thoughts around the topic of long-term athletic development as well. And this snapshot that I took from the pre-con this year with Rodri and his group from Cardiff Met, just showing, the interest. So this is obviously just scientific research. That graph is showing the number of papers that have been published across the years, and so you can see that exponential growth right there. But I think outside of the scientific realm, we're also getting a lot of interest amongst practitioners as well within community. So we want to continue that to grow. At that time, I handed over the reins to Des Ryan, and again, Des gave a brilliant presentation, kind of looking at his past role as the director of performance at Arsenal Football Club Academy, but taking those principles of long-term athletic development and now going into, communities within Ireland and basically setting down a long-term athletic development from youth all the way through adults in rugby clubs, soccer clubs, so on and so forth. So again, I think it presents a great model. It's something we've talked a lot about, is bridging those gaps between organizations or within a school, or we look at linking up a high school strength and conditioning coach within the middle school, and then having an influence down on elementary school physical education, and even reaching out into the sport clubs within your community. So Des gave a great presentation, some great examples there, a lot of good inspiration, I think, for people who are in the audience and hopefully who are listening to this can take back into the communities and reach out within the Facebook group and ask questions about how can this be done. At that time, handed over the reins, passed the gavel to Tony Moreno, and Tony gave a brief overview of where he wants to go, showing kind of his 4 areas of emphasis over the next few years, that being education and professional development, collaboration. Again, long-term athletic development is something that kind of spans all of the other special interest groups and professional development groups. So having those collaborations with the lacrosse special interest group or the soccer SIG, so on and so forth. So again, I think some great opportunities there. Then even at the national and state level, and along with collaboration is the advocacy piece. And then finally, communication and dissemination. How can we continue to grow the SIG via Facebook, Nsca TV, so on and so forth. So, and then Tony left it with, the SIG is only as strong as its members. So have a voice, think, be creative, be imaginative, innovate, share your thoughts and ideas with individuals on the executive council, or now with Tony as the chairperson. And then again, the big piece is let's act upon it and let's implement it within our organizations and communities. So again, for people who were not able to attend the meeting or just kind of curious to what happened during the LTAD SIG, just a brief overview for you. Again, thanks for your participation and involvement with this group.